What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's YouTube video. So we're just on the way to the shops. We're going to run through flexible dieting, what it is, why I rate it, why me and all my clients do that sort of like method, if that's what you want to call it. I'm going to show you what my average day of eating looks like, and we're going to run through all the pros and cons of flexible dieting, like what it is, how to set it up, everything you need to know in this video, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so we just got back from grocery shopping. I'm pretty much going to show you exactly what I would get on a weekly basis. This is pretty average shop for me. But before we do that, I want to run through like what is flexible dieting, how do you do it, is it going to be good for you, all that kind of stuff. So basically my concept of flexible dieting is that 80-20 or the 90-10 kind of rule. Now basically what that means is 80% of your nutrition, your daily nutrition, is going to come through whole food sources like fruits and veggies and proteins like meats and stuff like that. Very micronutrient dense sources of food. Your other 20% is going to be your kind of fun food, so your lollies, your ice cream. And there's nothing wrong with those foods whatsoever. It just means that those foods, they don't have any micronutrient value, so they're kind of empty calories, but again, there's nothing wrong with them. So basically when you think of like that 80-20 rule or that 90-10 sort of rule, you want to look at it more like a lifestyle, not necessarily a diet. So when you say flexible dieting, I like to, tell my clients, think of it more of a lifestyle. You're not following a diet because you want to be able to sustain this forever really. And you want to, obviously you're going to chop and change your food sources and your goals, depending on your goal, your calories and your intake's going to go up and down. But the whole gist of it is kind of that around that 80-20, 90-10, like it's a balance. So that basically means you can eat whatever you want as long as it fits in those like 80-20, 90-10 sort of guidelines. Now, don't get me wrong, you're gonna have days where the 80-20, you're way more better. That 80% might go up to 90, 95, 100. Like you might have a perfect day where all you eat is micronutrient dense sources. You don't even feel like having your fun foods and whatever, and that's sweet. And then you're gonna have days where that's kind of blown out the window and that 20% of fun foods is going to be more like half the day, like 50%. Again, that's fine. As long as you're sticking within your calorie means, your calorie target, you're not blowing out, you'll be sweet. So a good example of this is, let's say you have 5 meals per day, or you have 3 big meals and 2 snacks, for example. Now, let's say 4 of those meals are spot on. They're good micronutrients rich sources of food, and that, say the last meal, dessert or whatever, that's kind of your fun foods where you go and have some ice cream or something like that. Or it can be reversed. Let's say you go out with your partner for breakfast and you smash some pancakes, and then that's sweet, the rest of the day is all good. That would fit perfectly into that 80-20 structure. The reason why it's so good, in my opinion, this is the reason why I do it and all my clients do it, is because number one, it's sustainable. And when it comes to nutrition and dieting or trying to hit your goals, the main thing is it has to be sustainable. If it's not sustainable, you're not going to hit your goal because you're going to get fed up with it in no time, and then you're just going to blow it out the window. So that is key number one. That's the main reason why this works. Another reason I'm a big fan of this is because it works very well with either meal plans and just like daily tracking. So chopping and changing whatever you eat throughout the day. Where some other diets, you'll have to stick to the meal plan, or you'll just have to like track. There's not that flexibility to swap between the two. So that's why I also think it's a great idea. I personally do both. So I have a meal plan with my calorie and macro targets. And on days where I'm super busy, I know I'm going to be rushed, or I don't want that stress of just thinking, I don't want to choose. I just follow that. And that sounds kind of stupid, like you don't want to choose, but sometimes it's very refreshing if you're very busy, just have a structured meal plan, because you can just wake up and you know exactly your days lined out. I'm going to have this. I don't have to think about anything else. And then on other days where I want to change up or have more time, I'll just flexibly track with like MyFitnessPal or some sort of calorie tracking app. So yeah, that's basically the gist of the whole flexible dieting concept. I don't know why I always do that, flexible dieting concept. So just keep in mind, you want to hit your calorie and macro targets, obviously, and then you want to kind of stick to that 80-20 rule, and then from there you are sweet. So I'll run you through what I eat generally in a week, and that might help you kind of get a good concept around what is because where a lot of people go wrong, they're like, oh, what's classified as 80%, what's classified as 20%. Now, the key is don't overthink it too much, but this will help you a little bit, hopefully. So basically, I've got my carb sources out here, what I eat on a weekly basis. So we've got breads, potatoes, noodles, and pasta, obviously to go with that. We've got like pasta sauces, jam. I eat tons of fruits, which are very micronutrient dense. So bananas, apples, frozen berries, and then we've just got oats and crumpets. Now obviously I do chuck other stuff in there, but this is the kind of main source. Now I know a lot of people will be like, but breads isn't 80% like good for you, that's not good for you. You'll be surprised, like for one, breads, there's a lot of fiber in it, and there is actually a lot of good vitamins and minerals in that kind of stuff, and like crumpets, noodles and whatnot. So you'll be surprised. One key that helped me a lot when I was younger learning this stuff is start to read all the ingredients, because before you kind of bag something out, read the ingredients and go through it, like what's actually in it. Because so many times clients have said to me that, oh, what about like, you know, the food acids in that and like those little numbers that it says on there. And I just say to them, Google it, like Google what it is, and you'll be very surprised. Half the time it's like food acids out of, you know, oranges or things like that. So just kind of read labels, get used to it. Yeah, that will help quite a bit. Sweet, so protein and fat sources. Now, for me with fats, this is personal preference, whether I'm cutting or like lean bulk and trying to put on size, I like to keep my fats at a minimal, because for one, I just prefer carbs. Like I prefer carby foods, and it is better for training and muscle growth. It's better for performance, hard sessions and recovery. Fats don't do a whole lot for muscle growth. So that's why there's not a whole lot of like oils and all that sort of stuff here. So basically the protein sources, this is what I eat on a weekly basis. I have a protein powder, just any whey protein isolate is good. I have a few brands I like. Come back here, eggs, obviously that's fats as well, but I use these for protein pancakes, eggs on toast, that sort of stuff. Kangaroo meatballs, I don't eat tons of red meat, but I do eat a little bit of it. So kangaroo and extra lean mince are my sort of red meat sources. My main sort of protein sources is usually chicken. Now this stuff here is so good. Sometimes I just go for this stuff like peri peri rather than just this sort of standard like chicken tenderloins, just because it's already seasoned, it's easy, and it tastes so much better. Couple of protein bars every now and then, throw in like a YoPro for a snack, and then fat sources, coconut milk and Biscoff. Now this you could probably classify as that 20%. It is carby and fatty, if that makes sense. It's got both, but this stuff is in the weekly basis because it's so good. It's that kind of replaced peanut butter for me when I found that, because it's the jam. So now onto the last part. So this is where we're going into that kind of like 20% sort of fun foods. As you can see, I'm a massive ice cream fan because we just went shopping, and like this is basically all I got. So it's not a lot. Honestly, I forgot to put cereals with the carbs. I probably would just put that with the carbs because yeah, it's processed, and like there is, you know, you can argue this one. Like I personally would just put it with like 80% kind of whole foods, because if you read most of the packets like this, I usually eat like rice bubbles, Cocoa Pops, Wheat Bix, stuff like that. Like majority of it is kind of a whole food source. It's like rice, for example, rice bubbles, it's like 90% rice, which most people don't know. So it's kind of, if you get bored of eating rice, it's a very easy way to get in a lot of good carbs. Same as Wheat Bix and stuff like that. Like I personally think they're not in the 20% thing, but whatever, if you do, they're here. I do eat quite a bit of cereal as well. But ice cream for sure, this is your 20% fun food. So I always go generally low cal ice cream. So this, if you've never had it before, like this is so good. You can have massive servings for low calories with this, and then just different sort of low cal ice cream. So Tilly's, Halo Top, and then Ben & Jerry's low cal. It's not essentially that low, but it's still good. Jelly, this is amazing if you're on a diet, if you're on a cut, because that's basically no calories. And then sugar-free drinks like Coke Zeros, whatever these bad boys are, Pepsi Max, stuff like that. I do have one of those, maybe, used to be every day, but at the moment only like every few days. But if I'm in a calorie deficit, if I'm trying to cut, I'd probably be having one of these every single day. Now again, this is something that you can argue, and I stick up for it. It's actually not as bad as what people think, and that's because they don't really look into it too much. Majority of it is just carbonated water, so it's actually not that bad. So yeah guys, basically that's it. It's really simple. You know, this is just my choices. I do obviously changes, like donuts and other fun foods. Your choices might be a lot different. They might be chocolate, cookies, lollies, like whatever you want guys, whatever you want. Just as long as it kind of goes off the parameters I was talking about before, you are sweet. Now, this is what I want to touch on as well. This is honestly the reason why, like, I think a lot of my clients stick to their diet very well. They get wicked results. I'm gonna pop a few of them on the screen for you now just so you can have a quick look. Is because I put stuff in like this for them. I plan it in their meal plans for them. I tell them they can fit it in their calories and stuff like that, because if you don't, for one, they're never gonna stick to it, and two, like, why would you wanna follow like a diet or a lifestyle that you can't have this stuff? Like, yeah, if you don't like this stuff, then you don't have to eat it. But personally, me and pretty much everyone I work with and all my friends and stuff, like, we all like tasty food, we all like delicious food, we're all human, so we're gonna wanna eat this stuff, so why not have it in there daily? And that way, the best thing this sort of like nutritional habits has done for me is I never get cravings, and I never like get the need to want to binge. When I used to follow, when I was a lot younger and I thought I had to eat, you know, just meat and chicken and rice and veg and broccoli, like friggin' every day, I would last maybe a week, and then every weekend I would have a massive binge where I would just eat as much crap as I can. And not only obviously that's bad for your goals and your sort of progress, but I had the most unhealthy sort of mindset around nutrition. Like, I thought that was normal. I was like, yeah, I'll just wait till Friday or Saturday or whenever it was, and I can go out with the boys and just eat as much crap as I want. And like, that is not a way to live, number one. And number two, it's such an unhealthy mindset to have. So I personally think this is a lot better, in my opinion. So yeah, that's flexible dieting, guys. That's my take on flexible dieting. That's pretty much what it is, how it works. That's what I eat on a weekly basis. That's what I eat to bulk, that's what I eat to cut. I just change the amounts and whatnot. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully you got some valuable information there, and hopefully you kind of have a better idea of what flexible dieting is, why it works, and if it can work for you. So if you enjoyed it, smash that like button, drop a comment below, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next one.